What's up, Totem Pole Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Lambo and Matt's World of Sports. We're back with more college football talk today. Mario Christobal in Miami. They've had success in recruiting. It hasn't necessarily led to a lot of success on the field. So we'll get into that, as well as what's the situation with Duke looking like in a post-Elko world. They've got, some good transfers coming in, but the recruiting class doesn't look great. But they've had really good seasons the past 2 years with the roster that is there. We'll get into that and we'll give our opinions. Make sure to visit TotemPoleNation.com for some merch if you need it. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. As well as if you want some more content about Miami or Duke, the Sideline Sports Nation or Sideline Sports Network, Twitter accounts for both of those schools are in the ticker as well. Shout out to Sideline Sports Network. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mario Christobal. Remember, Miami was back after they fired Nate Diaz, obviously, who was now the head coach at the University. Manny Diaz, who is at the University of Duke. All right. So Mario Cristobal first season, he was 5-7, and now they were 7-6. Miami started off pretty good, but Lord, that Georgia Tech game went shoo. That Georgia Tech, after they beat A&M, I said, okay, they could be something. But when they blew that Georgia Tech game, I was like, oh, Lord. What's up, Jackson? Thank you for coming in, obviously. We appreciate you. What is the New Year's resolutions for Mario Cristobal? All right. It's 2024. Miami, as of right now, I think, are they number 3 in the recruiting or the transfer portal after right now? They're in the top 5 somewhere as 4 as of right now. So they're doing good recruiting-wise, but they're not winning games. And under Miami expectations, they're trying to be back where Florida State was. Look where Florida State was. Down at the bottom. They brought it back up. Florida State could have played for the national championship, but we saw why you don't want to play for the national championship. Do I think Mario Cristobal is a good coach? I mean, he did great in Oregon with Herbert. Obviously, they were great. He's an offensive line guy, so the offensive line needs work. Here's the things that they need to really resolve, all right? One is the quarterback position. Oh, Lord. What'd you have? Tyler Van Dyke, turnover-prone quarterback. Lord of mercy. They got to find a quarterback because Cam Ward actually went to the NFL draft. He didn't even want to transfer to another school. He opted to go into the NFL draft out of Washington State. Now, I don't think Cam Ward has I don't think he has enough film or we hadn't seen him enough, but that's debatable for later. The transfers that they've shown in a USC transfer of Malachi Nelson, another UNV transfer in Jaden Bavaya, and a James Madison standout, Jordan McLeod, and they're aiming at Liberty quarterback Caden Slater. So they're aiming at guys, which is fine. The question is, can they finish the job? The second one is consistency. One, let's talk about the Georgia Tech game. Actually, I'm not even going to get into that. Y'all saw what the damn near happened. You don't even need to run the ball. Just don't do that. And you know why I said that? Because the Miami coaches are damn near responsible for shit like that. All right? Not just that, but their wide receiver committed 3 unsportsmanlike conducts during a bowl game to Rutgers. 3. You're telling me the coaches are not being held accountable for one guy with 3 unsportsmanlike penalties, and you hadn't learned that you running the ball or getting it stripped by Georgia Tech. You didn't learn. So why are these coaches not holding the players accountable? That is kind of part of it. Please, the third one, get your playmakers involved. All right? They have quickness on the wide receiver spot, but this needs to be the year where they have the speedy receivers. They got Nathaniel Ray, Josiah Trader, Nikar, Robbie Anderson, and with the running back Chris Johnson, they got fast guys. Please use your best guys. Just please use them. And that comes down to offensive play calling. Last but not least, I call it life lessons. All right, life lessons of take a fucking knee. And I'm gonna keep saying that shit. Take a knee. Don't run the ball. Take a knee. And I gotta criticize your timeouts, Mario Cristobal. In some of your games, you use timeouts at the wrong time, where you don't have any in the second half. But your mistakes at Oregon is now coming to Miami. That's just kind of what it is. You're too worried about the analytics stuff where you're not getting the fundamentals down. That's my four things for Miami. That was a long 6-minute rant. But go ahead. What are your thoughts on what Miami should improve on? Do you think Mario Cristobal is on the hot seat despite his long contract that he signed and him being his third year, despite all of what the fuck I just said?
No, and I think him being, just in the third year is, it gives him some more leeway. Obviously, things have improved since he got there. His first year, you already mentioned it, he was 5-7. This year, they finished 7-6. The recruiting classes have gotten better, but like you said, like I was expecting a little bit more than a 2-game improvement for them this year. They had the 7th ranked class last year, and like I just mentioned, they have the 4th ranked class this year. They don't have a quarterback though in that class that's going to be ready to start at all. And the team as a whole, the breaking news, they've been kind of mediocre since 2017. You mentioned that they're kind of trying to do what Florida State did and just like rise back up from the depths. I don't really know what else there is to do. Obviously, you have to hold players accountable, but I mean, the classes are fine. They've got good guys coming in, and the coaches just can't get it together. Van Dyke is obviously gone. They're losing, 11 other players. I don't have the exact analytics of how much production they're actually losing, but you're losing your starting QB when you really don't have another one that you can trust on the roster. You're losing a bunch of wide receivers. You're losing running backs. You're losing guys on defense. Now, obviously, they're bringing in the number 4 class, but that doesn't really help you so much if they're all going to be freshmen. So I don't really know what there is to do to like change, minus just get the boys ready to play better. And then they're all also going to, they have like the 55th ranked transfer class right now. They've only got 4 guys that have committed. None of them are, skill players. So the offensive spots that they're losing haven't really been replaced yet by experienced guys. It's all in in just normal recruiting. So we'll have to see what it looks like. We already saw with Texas A&M trying to do a similar thing and getting back up to that relevant spot that they used to be. Jimbo had the number 1 class, and then he had a top 5 class and another top 5 class. When we did that episode, I'm pretty sure we determined his average was somewhere like in the top 10 every single year. So we've seen basically this situation already with a team that everyone expects to be good, but they just really haven't been in recent years, despite having a lot of success in recruiting. So I think that they're going to need to hit the portal a little bit more this year, which they have not done. And, it's getting a little late, but I do think that McLeod would be a great pickup from JMU. I don't know. I didn't watch enough Liberty games to tell you enough about their quarterback, except for
we don't care because they think they're the first undefeated team. We didn't care about Liberty. We didn't go to Liberty games.
We could do a whole hey, trust me, man. We could do a whole video on Liberty, bro. I would be very happy to do that at some point. But I don't know if I trust their quarterback to get Miami where it needs to be. And then they need a quarterback. I don't know how much I can stress that more. Like losing Van Dyke, yeah, he wasn't the best this year, but he definitely wasn't the reason that you were losing every single game. Like you mentioned the Georgia Tech game, that was one. The coaches lost that game by not just kneeling the ball down. And then other games where there's other stuff going on that leads to the loss and not directly the play of the quarterback. So I don't know exactly what to expect in the future just because we've seen the same scenario, like I already said, with Texas A&M. What do you think needs to change?
We said Texas A&M, right? What did you say for A&M or Miami?
Well, I'm saying that this is a similar situation to A&M.
Oh yeah, my bad. All right. So when it comes to A&M, obviously they got Mike Elko from Duke. Surprisingly, he only stayed there for 2 years. When it comes to A&M, they're very lucky that they don't have to play a tough schedule other than the SEC teams that Texas and Oklahoma that are joining the SEC, and they will have to avoid playing Alabama and Georgia. Looking at the schedule, that's surprising because normally A&M always plays Bama, but it looks like from this year they're not going to be able to play Bama. So their four toughest opponents looking at the schedule is Notre Dame, Missouri, LSU, and Texas, all at home. They got Mississippi State, South Carolina, Auburn are away games. The neutral site is always going to be against Arkansas in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, as always. I think when it comes to A&M, Connor Wegman is returning. All right. So I didn't think Wegman was that bad in the um, Jimbo system, but they were so inconsistent and just giving out the ball to star players. Their offensive line wasn't there. It made him look pretty bad despite the injury that he went through too. So I think adding a experienced guy that knows the system is coming back as well after damn near broke a bone in his foot and he still came back. So I think from A&M, I don't know if their win percentage, or the win difference is going to be the same. What they went 7-6 last year or 7-5. They could go 8-5, despite them not having to play Alabama nor Georgia. But with the four opponents, the toughest opponents you mentioned, one of them beating Notre Dame, I'm not going to say it's very, very easy that it's going to be accomplished. But if Notre Dame adds, some key pieces and also their defense is very, very important in the SEC. They're adding Shamar Turner. He's coming back as well, obviously, for his final season eligibility. He still can go into the draft, obviously. He has until like mid-January to figure that out as well. But if you get some key pieces, you fix the offensive line. I'm very confident in Mike Elko fixing the roster. Apparently, what Jimbo Fisher has had, obviously, despite them losing 26 players to the transfer portal last offseason. So I think for A&M, I think they'll improve. I will just have to see it on the field. That's all I can go as far as the end of. I have to really see it on the field to believe it. But Mike Elko has turned around programs, so it's not really him. It's just, can the players show up? Can you get your quarterback healthy? Because he is an injury-prone quarterback. Can you get him healthy? And then can you get your key pieces on defense? That's kind of what I have for A&M. Do you have any last thoughts?
No, but that's a perfect transition. Mike Elko has rebuilt teams, and the last team that he did, do his magic on was Duke. And Duke now is in an interesting spot, bringing in Manny Diaz, the former Miami coach, and then the past few years as the Penn State D coordinator. They finished 8-5 this year, even after, Elko was gone and a lot of players weren't playing, but a lot of players did play, which I think, speaks well to the culture that they have built at Duke, regardless of Elko being there or not. These guys wanted to play in the game. Virginia Tech transfer D lineman, last name Peebles, he played, huge game. So I think, the culture around Duke has definitely been built as a program that's on the rise. 8-5 this year, Birmingham Bowl win versus Troy. Last year in Elko's first year was 9-4, Military Bowl W. And then they just picked up Malik Murphy from Texas in the portal. He was the 21st ranked transfer, the third ranked QB in the transfer portal. So those are positives. Manny Diaz, while he was average at Miami, I think, some time underneath another head coach, maybe you learn a little bit more, maybe you evolve, and he can, go at this a little bit differently. But they are losing a lot of guys on offense and defense that had production this year, as well as, just having the 53rd ranked class and the 58th ranked transfer class. So I don't know traditionally what Duke is looking like transfer-wise, but being, outside of the top 50 in both of those are definitely not places you want to be if you want continued success after 2 great years with Elko. And that's great by Duke standards, obviously, not great. But do I think that the team that Manny can put together could be, comparable to the teams that Elko did? Maybe. I mean, nothing really is showing me that in the past, but then also you have to consider Duke before Elko was still on the rise as well with the previous coach. So, Danny Dimes came into Blacksburg and really whooped our ass there in 2019. This was a team that's been on the rise for a few years. So I'm not sure. Obviously, Elko leaving hurts big time, and losing guys that added value and I'm losing my train of thought here. Production, excuse me. It's going to take a lot from Manny, and it's going to take a lot from the guys that they're bringing in the recruiting class, because the transfer class is only 3 guys right now, and it's Malik Murphy and then 2 guys from UPenn or whatever, like an Ivy League school. So they're going to, which is obviously academic standards at Duke are a little bit higher, but you got to lock in.
Well, that's it for Lambeau and Matt's World of Sports. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you need your merch, you go to TotalPointNation.com. And if you go on X, thanks Silent Sports Network for the platform. If you go on X, you can follow Miami and you can follow Duke on the Sideline Sports Network page. Adios. We will be back this weekend because the CFCA Clinic is in Nashville, Tennessee. So you'll see us and we will live stream and we'll update you on the coaches convention. So y'all have a great night and take care. Adios.